but I think most Indians do have the appetite in terms of the risk to actually own alternative assets which are more conservative. So I think this alternative investing, especially fixed income, is probably might be actually even bigger than the entire equity industry. Good question. So if you look at say mature markets like the US, if people wanted to put their money in something short term, they would obviously have a bank account. They'll make 0% returns. But essentially, the concept of fixed deposit is very Indian. You don't really have fixed deposit elsewhere in the world. And the reason why it's very Indian is because it's sold as a very, I would say, safe instrument, and it's sold as high returns in the past. If you look at the last 15, 20 years, fixed deposit rates have been pretty good, to be honest. 7, 8% is relatively long term. It's all about demand. So if you're buying risky assets, it should be expensive. If you're buying cheap assets, it should be cheap. And today, I think in India, the reason why we haven't really progressed from fixed deposits is obviously because the offerings in the bond market were not that great, to be honest. And they weren't priced that well also, so the risk-adjusted interest rates were not very high. And also the banking system itself was so strong and big that you don't really had anything outside the banking system for you to get access to bonds. So I think even bond investing, in my experience, only, and this is mutual funds investing in, say, bonds, has only taken off in the last, say, 10 years. Before that, people only bought gold and people only bought FD. So I think you are seeing a shift of, and in fact, I remember, say, 5 years ago, people used to sell liquid funds, saying that liquid funds will give you more than FD rates. So the whole push towards mutual fund investing was saying that, boss, you're buying a liquid fund and it's as safe as an FD, but you're getting higher returns. But now even that is not true. Even a liquid fund is not true. So I think the asset class, I think alternative investment in general, I think is going to be a lot bigger in the future because you are looking at lower interest rates, and which is why I think as customers, as more risk takers, as a generation, we will be looking at investments that are conservative, but also looking at slightly higher yields, which is where this segment comes in. And I see a lot of innovation happening in this space. Apart from the traditional, buy Bajaj Finance or buy this or buy that, I think there will be a lot of innovation in the space, and customers will get a lot more options than what they used to, say, 5 years ago. But it has been a gradual shift. But I still think that if you look at the average person, he or she is still investing in FDs. In fact, even equities, to be honest, I think I do think that most Indians, maybe I would say 85, 90, not even any, but most Indians don't really have the appetite or the risk profile of owning equities for the long term. So equities, in fact, might be a big industry, which it already is. But I think most Indians do have the appetite in terms of the risk to actually own alternative assets which are more conservative. So I think this alternative investing, especially fixed income, might be actually even bigger than the entire equity industry because an average Indian likes to see having stable returns as opposed to volatile returns. So I think this could be obviously very starting stages, but over the next 5 to 10 years time, you can see a lot more adoption happening in this space because of how comfortable people are with fixed income.